But now he's finally back, and hopefully we'll get to see why he's been such a champion throughout the year.
Oh yeah. Hopefully he still hasn't lost his touch. It's one of those things where we always say this, whenever a player goes on a hiatus and whenever they return, it's the mirror matchup that they are most comfortable with. So hopefully that is the case here, as we are getting into that ZvZ into round 2.
Is it really a mirror matchup against EnDerr, though?
I mean, they're both Southeast Asian, they're both teammates, and they're both very unique Zerg players. I feel like this is as close to a mirror matchup as we can get, you know? It's not quite...
but they're up, yeah.
Yeah.
It's as close of a mirror you can get for either of these opponents, you know?
Yes.
Put them against literally any other Zerg player, and, you know, it's too opaque. You don't get a reflection. Oh, I guess mirrors are opaque. It's, the other thing I'm thinking about. I don't remember physics. In the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner of Berlingrad, LE. We, of course, have our red Zerg player doing an extractor trick once again. He is going to be representing the Juggernauts all the way from Vietnam. He is Admin MeomaikA.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Berlingrad LE, we have the Filipino Zerg player. He just 2-0'd Beast Thork in 15 minutes. He's the best Zerg player in all of the Philippines, also representing the Juggernauts. It is EnDerr.
Not going for a forward macro patch this time.
No, not this time, not this time. Still opening up with a pool first, but just a pool hatch opening, so a little bit more standard here from EnDerr. MeomaikA also went from early pool, but he prioritized his gas.
Yeah, he's gonna have a lot more options as the game continues. This probe is, or this drone, sorry, is not making a hatchery. It's opening a path.
Yeah, interesting choice here. There's the there's the hatchery that we know and love. EnDerr with his macro hatch here at the natural. Maybe wondering what's the purpose of this? Well, he loves to mass lings, and the extra larva added here does actually influence the game. And again, like, he actually finds a lot of success with this.
He does. I mean, we just seen him utilize a variation of this build to great success in a ZVP. ZvZ, bit of a different matchup, and one thing that we'll always be looking out for here for MeomaikA is that gas count. If Banelings get out at any point in this game, I feel like EnDerr will just lose it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, he's delaying his gas so much. He still hasn't taken any of his gas, by the way. But here he is across the map with his lings trying to find some damage. He picks up a couple of lings here and there, but he doesn't pick off any drones.
He's actually droning up himself. What?
Yeah. Just getting them drones. The other added
as well.
Yeah, and the added value of this hatchery is that he can wall off. He's gonna have a decent amount of queens to work with, so because of that, he should be safe if, say, I don't know, a ling flood came across the map.
Which is a very real possibility, thanks to that Evo chamber.
Oh yeah.
EnDerr, of course, hasn't seen it yet, but he's gonna be safe regardless.
Oh, he gets into the main base. He sees the early Roach War, and he doesn't see the Evo chamber, I don't think, as I quickly check. No, he doesn't, so he doesn't have the full picture, but a fast Roach War like this is a tell of an early push.
Yeah, you don't get a Roach Warren this early unless you mean to use it.
Exactly. Like, typically by now, if you're looking at standard play, you should see a third base. You should see a Baneling Nest to protect that third base as well. But we're in Southeast Asia. Like, ZvZ is just built different.
They don't conform to your standards as Zerg, you know?
Exactly. Like, there's no third base in sight for either player. Roaches are on the way. My question is MeomaikA still going to commit to a +1 Roach push? Because he got scouted. Like, EnDerr knows about the early Roaches, and MeomaikA knows that EnDerr knows.
Well, because MeomaikA knows that EnDerr knows about his earlier Roaches, he's gonna think, yeah, EnDerr probably expects me to switch it up from here. which is why he should just go for the early push. Still getting that third base, but whether or not he saturates that is different. It's a different story.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on that as well. Like, even though, like, typically MeomaikA, he would just not attack at this point because he's going to have an early +1 range, and +1 range was never scouted by EnDerr. This is still unexpected, and maybe MeomaikA can still make use of it.
Yeah, I definitely hope he does. I think there is quite a lot of opportunity for him here. Even if he doesn't end the game, there's still, he might be able to take out that hatchery or take out that roach horn at the very least. Oh
yeah, the tech is very exposed here. EnDerr does have the defender's advantage though, and then just the sheer numbers advantage. So it's still a little bit up in the air whether or not MeomaikA can make something happen. If he opts not to attack, and right now he's in a defensive position for his third base, he needs to spend his resources elsewhere. He needs a lair, he needs, you know, another upgrade, like +1 carapace or +2 or something, right? You would expect to see a little bit more from Meo.
Yeah, but instead, he's just building up. He stopped droning quite some time ago. He's making more and more army. Did kind of eclipse EnDerr in supply a little bit early on, but I think enough time has passed that EnDerr is catching up. There are uneven upgrades. MeomaikA not behind by any means. In fact, he's still a little bit ahead, but the time for him to push, I think, has come and gone. Yeah,
the upgrades have equalized. EnDerr now has a lair. He's getting speed as well for his roaches. MeomaikA, he just now checked to see if there was a third base, and he confirmed the third location. He knows his is faster, so there is that going for him. And again, he hasn't been droning. He is link flooding behind this. Like, he is going to try and hit that third.
And with this round of, I almost want to say warpins, but round of roaches and lings, MeomaikA is once again pulling very far ahead on the army supply. Lings are going to be such a good buffer as well for the Roach v Roach battles.
Oh god, exactly. The Lings, they kind of get a wrap around the Biles. Are they going to connect with the Roaches? And they do! Ooh. The Queens will get exposed as well.
Immediately taken out before they can add any utility to this fight. This is a bit of a dangerous choke point for MeomaikA to try to fight in, but of course he doesn't need to. That's a lot of Overlords going down to a couple of Biles.
Yeah, 3 Overlords go down, and what's scary about this push is the Roach Warren is so exposed. If MeomaikA wanted to, he could just focus down the Roach Warren and then back off from there. Meanwhile, he's taking a little bit of time, and now the reinforcements are coming out for EnDerr.
Yeah, it kind of feels like he was being a little bit too indecisive there, but he's still winning this battle for the time being. Ling reinforcements coming in. That's what happens on Berlingrad, especially when the mineral wall gets mined down a little bit.
Yeah, exactly, and it looks like MeomaikA will not go for the Roach Warren. He backs off. He wants the third base instead. The Lings are focusing that down. Meanwhile, the Roach Ravager is trying to dance with that of EnDerr, and he will get that hatchery.
Yeah, we go. I got worried for a sec. I saw the Bile.
Yeah, the Biles were kind of the icing on top there, as sure EnDerr backs off and sure MeomaikA backs off and EnDerr is able to survive the push, but now he's down a base.
Yeah, he really needs to deal some kind of equalizing damage across the map. That was the point where EnDerr was a little bit ahead when it came to the tech, but now MeomaikA is just about equalizing. They're both getting +2 at around the same time. Big difference for now is that EnDerr does have Galawi Constitution. He can try to maneuver around the army of MeomaikA.
Yeah, he can. The problem is that because Berlingrad is so small, there's not a lot of like move to move around. Like there's just not that much maneuvering to do on this map. So he's having a hard time really taking advantage of that because he doesn't have a third base. Like he doesn't have the income to help support and rebuild or even increase his army supply. He's actually supply blocked right now as well. How
many Overlords have gone down this game?
Yeah.
Apparently only 6 for EnDerr and 5 for MeomaikA. Expected it to be a lot worse, honestly.
I mean, that's still a lot of Overlords in a ZvZ.
It's still a lot in a ZvZ.
Oh, God. And now EnDerr, I mean, he's keeping
Actually,
up.
It's 11 total, if you add them up.
Yeah, and he's keeping up when it comes to the upgrades. 2+2 is on the way for both of our players. But MeomaikA, he's about to get his own Roach speed. Like, he has the workers advantage. He has the superior income. He's just getting ready for the next wave.
Hey, he's even anticipating the counterattack because no pressure on MeomaikA at the moment. All the pressure is being applied on EnDerr. Grabbing a couple of spine crawlers, and once they finish up, I mean, Mio shouldn't feel too worried about having to keep roaches back home.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned because spines are good, but they're also eating into MeomaikA's drone counts. Like, he had a pretty decent worker lead earlier, and that lead has it's slowly gone down as a result of making all this stacked defense. To be fair, if EnDerr pushes, then it's totally worth it. Because spines are great.
Looking to push.
Yeah.
In fairness, but yeah, MeomaikA's trying to meet him in the middle of the map, which is not necessarily what he wants to do. I mean, I still think with the numbers advantage, he has it in him to take this fight, but he would rather fight with spine crawlers as much as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of, both spine crawlers go down, but the sheer number of roaches are just too much here. MeomaikA, he's breaking through the roach defenses of EnDerr, getting on top of the Ravagers, and EnDerr just doesn't have enough army here.
He really doesn't. MeomaikA even setting up a bit of a flank. He wants to outmaneuver the roaches of EnDerr. Can he go for the sandwich? Can he go for the sandwich? He doesn't need to. He's just going straight for the third again.
He doesn't care, mate. He doesn't care at all about the army. This is a little bit scary. MeomaikA does split up his own army, but now he has the high ground. He turns around. He goes for that surround that you wanted to see earlier, and again, he's just overwhelming everything that EnDerr has.
Biles are landing on both sides, but MeomaikA has just way more biles. GG. Mio takes game number 1. The admin, apparently.
GG, well played. And oh my god, this is what I was worried about. We just got a couple of results in, mate. Refresh that bracket.
Oh man. Oh man. That is heartbreaking, but we do in fact have our first player out of the Platypus All-Stars. Demi has unfortunately fallen to the Juggernaut combo of Go-Go Joey and Beastork, the Hong Kong Juggernaut combo.
Oh god.
And yeah, unfortunately will not be here to have another chance at whatchamacallit.
Yeah,
what's the word I'm thinking of here? Defend his title, so to speak.
Yeah, he won't have another chance here. Not this year anyway. Like, my heart goes out to Demi. He's a great player. He's one of the best that Southeast Asia has to offer. And it's one of those things where someone had to go down. And again, even though we only have a handful of players today, we only have 5 players in total, it's 5 quality players. It's 5 of the best. So Demi just had a rough run today, and we didn't even get to see him. We didn't even get to cast
I blame the electric people, personally.
Feels bad, man. Feels bad. So my heart goes out to Demi, but you know what this also means? It means that now 100% of the players left are from Juggernauts.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh, God.
They're all fighting for Calibre's attention.
They are, mate. They are. But what this also means is, hey, Beastork keeps the Protoss stream alive.
He does.
There you go. Not just all Zergs.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not gonna have that ZvZ-a-thon that we typically do have. I mean, they do call it the C, more like ZvZ for a reason, but you know. Anyways, we're going to be continuing our series here on Hotwire LE. We're in the bottom left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner, already up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. We have our red Zerg player coming down from the land of Vietnam. He is going to be representing the Juggernauts. He is the admin. He is MeomaikA.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the Filipino Zerg player, also representing the Juggernauts. It's the man himself. It is EnDerr. Napoleon.
Some call him the Odd.
Some call him the Odd. Some call him El Conquistador.
Ooh, see.
Sí. Oh god. He's an amazing player, but again, MeomaikA showing us that he may have been on a bit of a break, but he's still got it.
He really does. Turns out playing Rus in AoE transfers the skills a lot.
I don't know if he was actually playing Rus. He was just saying that Rus was Protoss. I don't.
Oh, might as well play Rus, you know.
It's true. It's true. Easy race. Easy race.
Yeah.
Oh god. But yeah. I'm kind of a little bit torn here. I want both players to do well. I hope we get to an ace match. What's scary is that the loser of this series does go up against Beastlork.
In a best of one, no less.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already proven himself against Debbie, so... Yeah. We'll see. There's a very real possibility that one Desert Muta Triangle does not advance here.
Indeed, indeed. As we do have a handful of links coming across the map. Once again, EnDerr going for the exact same opener. Goes for a pull first into 2 hatcheries down there on the low ground. These things should rock up, and again, ideally they pick off a drone hero there, and they try to get us around on these links, but ooh, MeomaikA, the lings, they come out looped up, and they slip away.
Yeah, nice and slippery. 1 ling goes down, 2 lings go down, but that's hardly the target here for EnDerr.
Oh, the drone!
Destroy! It's getting surrounded! Ugh. And it gets saved by the lings.
Jesus. That was close. Again, EnDerr, with this build, ideally you pick off a couple of drones here and there early on to catch up, but EnDerr was unable to get any. He was able to deny a lot of mining time though, so at least he was able to accomplish that. And now the game will go on. Oh my god. 2
roaches. Much quicker for MeomaikA this time. Recall in the previous game, he actually went for an Evo Chamber first.
Yeah, this time he's ignoring the upgrades altogether. This is so risky to do, especially when lings are still threatening your base. Oh, he's gonna get us the main! Ah!
Or is he? He is. Oh. He's gonna see this Roach Warren, and that is why MeomaikA will cancel. Or not. I was kind of hoping he would, but... I guess he may as well commit from here.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he takes 2 additional gases. 3 gases in total is a nice count to go into roaches, to be fair. Roach Warren does complete, so it looks like he's still going for this. I mean, he did drone up behind this, so he's not banking up larva to make roaches, but he's still going to be able to use this tech.
He's not banking up larva yet, anyway. I still need to make sure he's on stable 2 bases and he has enough overlords here and enough supply ready to actually get into that. This is the MeomaikA I missed.
I know, we're finally getting it. He's so active with his queens. He gets an overlord and he may get a second as EnDerr does respect the queens. He backs off, but this means that now EnDerr, his vision is a little bit more limited. He still has a couple of queens out of the map, but if he's overlords, but if he's not too careful, they will get picked off.
Yeah, they're covering the major positions for now, but EnDerr has one fairly massive blind spot that MeomaikA's going to look to exploit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this right-hand side isn't covered at all. EnDerr doesn't have an overlord covering the 3rd base either of MeomaikA if MeomaikA expanded. And this is what I'm talking about. Immediately, those roaches get turned into Ravagers just so MeomaikA can snipe these overlords.
He really hates them overlords.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know how frustrating it is to play a ZvZ without overlords to scout, or to just keep an eye on the main pathways, as you were saying.
I suppose I don't, but
it's terrifying.
Yeah, now I'm starting to get an idea of how terrifying and annoying it is here. Just looking at things from EnDerr's perspective.
Yeah, and MeomaikA's trying to hunt them down. He can't find the overlords. He's looking for them. He does find one over here, and oh no.
Will get battled down as well. 4 is the minimum amount of biles to one-shot an overlord.
Yep, that it is. Meanwhile, we do see EnDerr is pushing out across the map. MeomaikA will see the Roach army, and MeomaikA honestly doesn't have too much. He's getting a 3rd base. He's investing into a lair when EnDerr, he's stopped droning. He's just making nothing but army.
Army is coming. MeomaikA's gonna have to give up that base, cancel it. Best case scenario, he's able to distract the army long enough to keep it alive. Second best scenario is he's able to cancel that and save the drone. The Lings slip behind enemy lines. They immediately take out one of the queens, and these spines are not long after.
Yeah, exactly. The spines will not finish. Meanwhile, all the Lings of MeomaikA go down. There was a moment there, but oh god, the Ravagers were not taking part in the fight at all. But has MeomaikA held on? Has he bought enough time? 10 roaches are on the way, but he needs a little bit more time.
Yeah, this is the disadvantage of roaches versus Lings. Even with the defender's advantage, it can take a little while to pop out. I will say though that Heartwire is a much longer map than Berlingrad, so there's a lot more. Yeah, there's a lot more time that MeomaikA can utilize.
Yeah, exactly. But MeomaikA has to be careful again. This third base, he doesn't have to protect it. He doesn't have to save it. No, the Ravagers of MeomaikA are exposed.
So exposed, and immediately they get sniped by the Roaches and Ravagers of EnDerr. Every time MeomaikA turns to retreat, EnDerr gets a couple more volleys off. He really wants to save this third base, but yeah, he hasn't realized that EnDerr has neither expanded nor droned up. And I think that's going to be his downfall, MeomaikA's downfall.
Yeah, MeomaikA is going to lose everything here at the third base. GG gets called, and EnDerr will take it to the ace match.
That's what we're talking about. I was honestly really worried after game number 1 that we were going to get a bit of a one-sided series, but EnDerr proves once again why he's the odd. Why he's El Conquistador.
Exactly, mate. He's one of the best. He's a GPO champion. Hasn't won as many as MeomaikA, but he hasn't played in as many as MeomaikA. So, because...
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder what the percentages would look like.
Yeah, I wonder as well. To be fair, like, MeomaikA, when he signs up, he wins. Like,
more often than not, yeah. I still think MeomaikA would have the edge there.
Regardless, though, mate, best of 3. Ace match could still go either way.
Really could. And this is when we see a 12 pool.
Oh, God.
This is when we see 2 12 pools, actually.
Hey, we gotta go with the trend of the week. This is when we see a 12-11, alright? That's what we see.
Yeah. Ragnarok spreading his influence.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that, like, the other day. From multiple players. I think we saw it from Dark. We saw it from Solar as well. Ragnarok.
I mostly remember Ragnarok, if I'm being honest. Yeah. I still can't believe he qualified.
Yeah, he did.
Ahead of... He beat Dark, didn't he, to qualify? Beautiful. But anyway, we are going to be concluding this best of 3 series here on Curious Minds LE. We're in the bottom right-hand corner map, fighting all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We, of course, have our red Zerg player coming down from the land of Vietnam. He is going to be representing the Juggernauts. We have the admin himself, the cat, the pelican, question mark. He is MeomaikA.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Curious Minds LE, we have the Filipino Zerg player. Great minds think alike, as both players do go for pool firsts. We have also representing the Juggernauts, EnDerr.
You know, as long as we're reminiscing about the year in review, GPO, a year in review, how many nicknames has MeomaikA, 1, given himself, but also 2, have we given him?
Yeah.
He's had MeomaikA Lair, he's had MeomaikA Uwu, he's had MeomaikA, he's had the Pelican, he's had Joe Biden at one point.
Yeah, leader of the free world.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yep. He played on Old Mate Joe's account, you know?
Yep. He, God, what else? He was also, of course, the Grand Platypus. Of course.
He was, yeah. We call him that. He stopped calling himself the cat after a while.
Yeah.
Oh, we did see a lot more of the cat in WCS, at least, from him.
We did. It's been a great year. It's been a great year. And MeomaikA's found a lot of success as well. I don't know if you remember this. I think it was halfway through the year, MeomaikA tweeted out. He said, like, this is his most successful year of being a competitive player. Like, obviously, like,
Yeah, well,
results-wise, maybe not so much, but, like, earnings-wise,
well,
he's been able to accomplish a lot.
yeah, that's what happens when you win a bajillion GPOs.
Yeah.
With Lord Loken boosting the prize pool.
GPOs, his DreamHack runs as well. If you recall,
Yeah,
there was that one season where he came second.
Yeah. And yeah, you were mentioning that monetarily, definitely it's been his most successful year. Results-wise, I would also say it was, because that was probably his highlight of his career so far. Runner-up in WCS.
Yeah. On top of that, like, even NA Ladder Heroes at the start of the year, for the first couple of months, he was always on top.
I keep calling it WCS. It's been 2 years it's been 2 years since we had a WCS.
Yeah, it's just so ingrained, because even though it's been 2 years since we've had a WCS was around for much longer than that. Like, so it does take a while to get used to it. To get used to, like, the ESL Pro Tour or whatever.
I think you just call it DreamHack Masters.
Sure. Well, it's weird because DreamHack itself is, like, also
it's
a separate
also
event.
a different event. Yeah. And back in the day, WCS was integrated with DreamHack.
Well, back in the day, it was its own event, and then it became integrated with DreamHack, and then, I mean, it's just evolved so much over the years.
It really has.
Oh my god.
Can't believe it. Now we have DreamHacks that don't have StarCraft in them. Look at you, Melbourne.
Looking at you, Melbourne. Looking at you, Chase. We're here in your house, and you. What have you done for us lately? Okay, why have you not petitioned the peoples of Melbourne to get StarCraft there at the LAN? What's going on?
He's busy spreading the word of the cat prophet in Final Fantasy.
San Kieran, mate. He's
Yeah.
Oh god. Shaking my head, Chase. Shaking my head. But yeah, it's been great. We've also had ANZ champs as well to help out the scene. Again, I do think that Season 2 was maybe a little bit lackluster, but Season 1, there was definitely a lot of hype, and the players were very much so active at the time.
Yeah, I definitely loved the little things in ANZ champs, particularly Season 1 when we had the minute micro challenge and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And I'm sure we made a lot of great memories with everyone as well. And I hope to make more next year, you know? Like, still not over. It's not the end. It's not the end.
Coming in hot 2022, and speaking of coming in hot, Neo, why, man? Why?
I know.
You need to do that.
He comes in hot and he takes down the Roomba in the middle of the map. Meanwhile, we do have the Queens hunting down as many Overlords as possible. So far, it's been relatively passive, except for the fact that, of course, MeomaikA did end up taking his third base. We do have the Lair for both players. Upgrades are looking pretty similar, but EnDerr is still only on 2. His own third is quite late in comparison.
Yeah, we don't count macro hatcheries. I'm
EnDerr
sure he's got more. I'm sure he does. Technically, he's ahead on the base count.
True.
But at least he will have more production. We'll see if he actually has an economy to utilize that production, though.
Yeah.
It's a very delicate balance as the Zerg player.
It really is. The other big thing that I just noticed, and there we go, finally it's changing, is that MeomaikA has been working off of very little gas. He only took 1 gas in his main and his natural base. Finally, he's taking 2 at his third. But because of that, like, he hasn't had an amazing drone count and an amazing income to really kind of leverage. Finally, he's getting into it, but it's not as big as it could have been.
Yeah, and we're kind of starting to see the effects a little bit here. EnDerr starts +2 range before MeomaikA even finishes up +1. It's a bit of a knock-on effect. Knock-on? Domino effect. There we go.
Just a little bit. Meanwhile, MeomaikA is here. He's across the map. Ooh, he's hitting a wonderful timing before the Ravagers finish, and because of that, he gets on top of 3 of them.
Yeah, he's really utilizing his numbers advantage at the moment. He gets a little bit distracted by that queen, though. So EnDerr is able to get a ton of volleys off before MeomaikA can really reciprocate. He has killed a lot of drones though, and he is not stopping with the roaches. He is pumping out 10 at a time right now with Goliath Reconstitution. He's making it to the front lines as quickly as possible.
Mate, MeomaikA hit just as soon as EnDerr was droning up, so that was a beautiful timing for him. On top of that, he was also morphing in those Ravagers, so EnDerr was not ready for a fight whatsoever, and MeomaikA deals an insane amount of damage. Sure, he doesn't kill his opponent, but he cripples the economy. He kills a lot of queens as well. There's only 2 queens. Sorry, there's only 1 queen?
What? Where is that queen even?
EnDerr only has 1 queen here at the third. He doesn't have one at the natural or the main. He just lost them in the fight, so he has very little larva to work with. But he's got a macro hatch.
Yeah. I was gonna say it almost negates the fact that he has a macro hatch here. This can inject from that hatch.
Yeah, how is MeomaikA dodging these piles?
He's Neo from the Matrix.
Oh my god!
Oh, it finally goes down.
Finally it does go down. And again, this macro hatch does help out when it comes to larva, but again, without the queens to inject, it's not anywhere near as great as it otherwise could have been. MeomaikA able to quickly rebuild his army, but still doesn't have as much of a lead as I thought he would have had. It just goes to show how few workers he was working with.
Yeah, funnily enough. I mean, that's kind of MeomaikA's MO though, isn't it? He wants to be on as low of a drone count as possible so he can maximize his army supply. Kind of the opposite of Demi in a way.
Oh yeah. Wants to be as efficient as possible with as little as possible. Meanwhile, now it's EnDerr's turn to go for a bit of a counterattack. Army supplies are looking pretty even right now. We even have a couple of spines to help defend MeomaikA's third base, but MeomaikA doesn't have those Ravagers to force his opponent to micro and to maneuver his army.
Yeah, roaches are tough, but they don't actually have that much damage compared to these Ravagers. A couple of these roaches as well are stuck behind other roaches. Let's show you how short of a range they actually have. A couple of drones are being forced off the line. Is EnDerr going to be able to do this? It looks like he will.
Yeah, EnDerr with a massive upgrade advantage. 2-1 against only +1 range here, and the upgrades do matter. GG, EnDerr takes the series.
2-1, mate. Beautifully done. I was so worried for EnDerr after game 1. Not gonna lie here, like after witnessing game number 1, seeing EnDerr kind of fall a little flat after his initial aggression did nothing. I thought, well, we're gonna get another MeomaikA versus Gogo Joey in the upper bracket finals. But EnDerr, he proves me wrong. He proved everyone wrong. Well, me specifically, he proved wrong. And now he is the player to go up against Gogo Joey in the upper bracket finals.
Yeah, like, again, I was even in the ace match, I was really impressed with MeomaikA's push and the damage that he was dealing. But, like, after he was pushed back, like, he didn't really have anything to really fall back onto, right? Like, he was so much later when it came to his upgrades. His 4th base was late as well. He had it towards the end, but it took him a while to get that. He didn't have a great drone count, so he couldn't remax and hit again like I'm sure he wanted to. With that initial push, I'm sure he wanted to straight up end the game there, and it just barely didn't work out for him.
Yeah, it's definitely bit of a weakness of MeomaikA is that when he does go for big decisive plays like this, he often doesn't have a contingency plan of what to do if it doesn't work out or if it barely works out. Like I was saying, I think MeomaikA would have been in a much better position if he had a healthier drone count there. He would have been able to utilize that map control to get himself on a better economy, get himself on a better tech, get himself better upgrades and whatnot, but in the end, was not quite meant to be. Yeah,
not at all. And now MeomaikA is forced down to the lower bracket where he will face Beastlork. Fun fact, they already finished their vetoes and they're already in a lobby.
I thought you were gonna say they already finished the game. I was like, what? That was quick.
No, they actually just got into games, so very quickly they know what's up. They're already going into it, already diving on in, ready to get into another game. So yeah, they're going to be done shortly. Meanwhile, we have another ZvZ ahead of us.
Yeah, almost nothing but ZvZ left here.
Almost.
Kind of praying that that Beast Orc pulls it through so we get some PVZs to break up the ZvZs, but we'll see, we'll see.
Yeah, exclamation mark Funada, Starduck in the chat. Starduck, he actually just messaged us on Discord. If you want to see the messages, and you can join our Discord channel. He let us know that he was actually, he was baking scones.
Aww.
Hey, he missed GPO to bake scones.
I'll accept it. You know.
Will you accept it? Have you had
he gives us some scones.
Have you had a scone before, Yaku?
Yeah. For my food and nutrition exam. One of my food and nutrition exams had to make scones.
Ay. Shaking my head, mate. Shaking my head.
Scones are great. Craisin scones. That's the deal. EO.
God damn it. God damn it.
I'll accept the reason.
Nah, I won't, mate.
Scones are great.
I've discussed with Starduck in the past, and he's like, "Yo, mate, PvT unwinnable. That's why I always play in GPO, because there's no Terran there." And I'm like, "Mate, you haven't been playing for the past 3 weeks. Where have you been?"
It's like, exactly.
Like, I have a theory. He says scones. I think he made that up. I'm pretty sure we all know that he was probably playing Kerrigan Survival too. Like,
is this true, Starduck? Did you lie to the board? We'll have to rescind your whatchamacallit.
He's trying to appeal. He's trying to appeal to our weakness of food, and he knows that's how he gets to us. But nah, mate.
Fake sword didn't happen.
Exactly.
And that's why he's like, "Oh, I actually ate them already." So.
Likely story.
Should have fixed. That's why we have to X-ray your stomach.
Yeah.
Find the contents.
You get a mammogram out just to figure out what's been going on.
Yeah, an ultrasound.
But yeah. So because of that, we still have that Protoss Hope down there. We'll see if he's actually able to. If he knocks out MeomaikA, that's gonna be insane. I'm afraid that if that happens, MeomaikA, he's just gonna delve further into Age of Empires 4. He's just gonna leave us for good.
He's never gonna sign up again.
Yeah. Oh god.
Maybe like, I'm an AOE player now. I won my show match. I actually don't remember. I actually didn't watch that, but I will. If we get the VOD.
He did not. BCQD's team, the European team, ended up winning.
Oh, well, I mean, that's not too surprising. I guess BCQD has been at the top. He's been consistently at the top of the AOE ladder, hasn't he?
Oh yeah. He hit #1 a couple of weeks ago. At the moment, I think he still hovers around like top 10. So he's been finding a lot of success over there in Age of Empires.